No, he said it lovingly. I meant the Gemara, you idiot. I was there. I heard him.
Morning, actually. Okay, good morning, everybody. We'll start off with our sponsors. Okay, today is the 24th of March. Okay. Year of learning by Sue and Ann Garlick in memory of Malka Proman and Philip Mann and Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Beryl ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Yosef Meir ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Hanya Rivka Pro Rosna bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, and in memory of family murdered in the Holocaust. Harav Tzvi Hirsch ben Shlomo Yaakov, Sarah bat Ephraim, Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Ephraim ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Adia bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Miriam bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Pesel bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shalom ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shlomo Yaakov ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shmuel ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch. Leslie and Gail Kaplan in memory of their parents, Harry and Marjorie Sedell Irving and Pearl Kaplan. Children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of Toby Paris, Saratova bat Yisrael Dov in her memory. Charlie Gelfenstein and Sam Levine, in memory of Ramona Levine, Rachel Mata bat Asher. Friends of Nina Moynester, Nechama Asna bat Yitzchak Aharon. Many friends of Stephen Vigdor, Zecher Nishmat Simcha Melech ben Meir Leib Halevi. Friends of Marcy Kurtz, in memory of her great niece Leah Bracha. A month of learning by Lydia and Abe Krause's many friends in honor of their 50th anniversary. Josh and Carol Sanborn, in memory of his parents, Chiana bat Aryeh Leib and Shmuel Aryeh ben Baruch. Jill and Perry Meltzer, in memory of her mother, her father, Yaakov ben Yosef. A week of learning, the family of Esther Shepatovsky, and in her memory, Esther Riva bat Betzalel. Sid Paris, in memory of his father, Chaim ben Aaron Cohen. Charlie Gelfenstein and Sam Levine, in memory of Charlie's wife and Sam's sister, Menucha Sarah bat Yechiel Michal, and in memory of Sam's mother and Charlie's mother-in-law, Zissel bat Yehoshua. Leslie and Gail Kaplan, in memory of his mother, Pesha bat Shmuel Yitzchak Halevi v'Tzipora. Andrea and David Dolmy, in memory of her mother, Edel Tzina bat Shimshon. Today we have a day of learning plus Shalashudas Fund by Shlomo and Fegi Kleinbart in memory of his father, Shimon ben Avraham Dov. And that is it. May the Shemas have an aliyah, crank Rafia Velti Yeshua Shem Matzliah, Hope B'nai Yisrael a good Gebenshtia.
Amen.
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 Okay. All right. So, as you can see, the whiteboard is up. So therefore, that means we will get into a diagram at some point this morning. Okay? All right, but before that, we need to finish the parak. Okay? And we're on the top of Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. Okay? Just repeating where we had before. Okay, when it talked about locations, right? And that's, right, in terms of accepting or rejecting people from locations for Giur, okay? And it indicated that from a certain location, they were not to be accepted, right? So the Gemara was just finishing up. I'm start repeating what we did to finish yesterday. Okay, we're saying this community, which we talked about Palmyra, okay, as the name of one of the communities, and its environs, its suburbs. And that's where the Gemara is spelling out on the top of the Amud. Zo Hedyab, Nahar Gozen, Zo Ginzak, Va'arei Madai, Zo Chemdan, V'chavroteha, and its suburbs. Amarla, second line on the Amud, right? Nihar v'chavroteha, chavroteha man. when we're talking about this community, its suburbs, what are we referring to? Amar Shmuel says, Shmuel Karach is one, Moshche is two, Chidke is three, Vedumka is four. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Vechulan Lipsul. And all of these locations, okay, the concern is that the descendants might be Jews, and therefore they could be mamzerim, and therefore we don't accept them for conversion. Okay, so what happens? Ki amrita kame de Shmuel. When this was said before Shmuel, Amarle, he said to him, okay, he explained, Bincha haba min Yisraelit karui bincha, your male progeny that comes from a Jewish woman is considered your son. Ve'ein bincha haba min ha'averet kochavim or hagoya, depending on your text. Karui bincha ela bena. Okay, and that the progeny male from a non-Jewish woman is called her son. Right? That's basically where we stopped yesterday. Okay, but the Gemara raises a question here. All right, we saw that was raised yesterday in the shiur too. Right? Vaha'ika benot. But what about daughters? Okay, what's their status? Va'amar Ravina, says Ravina, Shmamina ben bitcha haba min ha'oved kochavim karui, right? Bincha, namely, says the Gemara, right? The son of your daughter, in other words, your male grandson, okay, through your daughter, okay, even if she married a non-Jew, okay, is called your son. So he would be considered your Jewish and your progeny. Okay, so that answered the question that we had yesterday, came in at the right time. Okay, that basically a male grandson through the daughter, even though she had produced that progeny through a non-Jewish male, would still be considered Jewish. Okay, so having said that, the Gemara picks up and continues. Gemire de binta dahahu dara, it's teruye, it's taru. Okay, we've learned then that the progeny, the daughters of that generation, they were, and the translations vary, they were, one says cut off, one wants to say they were spread out. Okay, there were different translations, okay? But the implication is, okay, that remember we had said that what Assyria had done would brought people, they removed the population, okay, spread them out in there, right? And they put other people there. Ika da'am, right?
They were incapable of putting, they were incapable of having children.
Well, that's
So there
Rashi's
was
view.
no problem.
Right.
With,
And those,
with whether a given individual
well, that's
Jewish.
right. Well, that's why the phrase were cut off.
Okay,
That
but it
translation.
closed,
In other words, that they were unable to give birth.
Right.
Okay, that's one pshat. Wasn't the only one, right? So Ika da Amri, others say Ki Amrita Kame de Shmuel. When this was said before Shmuel, Amarle, he said to them, right? Right? Lo zazu misham ad she'asaum avdei kochavim gmurim. Okay, that they did not move from there until they became so integrated with the others that they became like Gentiles. Shneamar ba. Okay, it says ba. Lo begdu, right? So that's based on the pasuk, right? That we have there, all right? And if I remember correctly, right, that the art scroll had a note on there,
Hashem, it's not
right?
Hashem Bagdu Ki.
Right? Right. So that pasuk. Bagdu, ki, all right, ki banim zarim yaladu. Okay, that they were therefore so intermixed that they produced children who were zarim. Okay, so based on that word zarim, we derive the fact that therefore they were not considered Jews. Yativ Rav Yosef achorei the Rav Kahana. So now a new piece from the Gemara. Rav Yosef was sitting behind Rav Kahana. Viativ Rav Kahana kame de Rav Yehuda. And Rav Kahana was sitting in front of Rav Yehuda. Viativ v'kama. So they were sitting and discussing. Atidin Yisrael, the Avdei, right? The Avdei Yom Tava, ki charvei Talmud. That one day in the future, the Jewish people, okay, will celebrate a good day, a holiday, right? When the city of Talmud will be destroyed. Okay? V'hachariv, says the Gemara, but it's already been destroyed. Hahi Tamud have. That was the city of Talmud, he says. Rav Ashi Amar, according to Rav Ashi, Hainu Talmud, Hainu Tamod. Okay? They're really the same location. One was maybe called Talmud, one Talmud. So the Gemara says, wait a second, how could that be? Right? Achpulehu, that the population doubled, according to one of the translations. Namely, the Mechapel Chariv Mehagisa, that it doubled or increased.
Chariv means it was destroyed.
Well, in other words, when one part of the city, one side, let's say, of the city was destroyed, Mehagisa, Otiv Mehagisa, the population, they settled and increased on the other side of the city. V'i Chariv Mehagisa, and if it was destroyed from one side, Otiv Mehagisa, they resettled and populated the other side of the city. Okay, now, Yativ Rav Himnuna, Kame de Ula. Rav Himnuna was sitting before Ula. The Kahave B'Shema'ata, and he was involved in learning, right? Amar, he said, okay, so the implication here seems to be that Ula is now saying this statement about Rav Himnuna. Okay, Ma Gavra, Uma Gavra. This is to say what a great guy he is. Okay, how great he is doing his learning, right? He loved the Harpanaya Me'ata, were it not for the fact that he came from the location of Harpanaya. Okay, Achsif. Okay, Rav Himnuna was embarrassed. Amarle, he said to him then, so Ula tried to make up to him and asked him the following question. Kesev galgalta, your head tax, all right? Lahecha yahavat, where do you pay your head tax? Okay? Amarle lepum nahara. He says, I pay it in Pum Nahara, okay? Which was another location in Bavel by the river. Amarle im kain mi Pum Nahara at. If that's the case, if that's where you pay your head tax, that's where you're living, and then you're not really considered from that location. All right? So somebody might say to you where you're from, and if you tell them you're from Brooklyn, but you live in Boca Raton now.
Taxes in Boca Raton.
Right? That's the case. Okay, so my Harpanya. What about Harpanya? Amar Rabbi Zera, Har Shahakol Ponim Bo. It's a nickname for a location where people turn towards this mountain. Okay, why are they turning towards this mountain? What is the significance of this mountain? What do you think?
Because that's where all the mamzerim, that's where all the.
Well, that could be one explanation.
That's what the Gemara says. That's where the mamzerim go to get married.
That's one option. Okay. All right. The other option is it could be an allusion to Har Grizim. Okay. Why do I say that? Because if we're already been pointed out to the fact of change of locations, then that's the whole story of how that population got shifted to the Samaria, all right, Samaritan area, how they became there, and they worshipped in Har Grizim.
That's because they were mamzerim.
Well, that had nothing to do with
Yeah, I
mamzerim.
meant that as
Okay,
the way
it
it
had
was used
something.
to be.
Okay, so the implication could have a double entendre. Okay, in other words, it was the mountain that they faced when they worshipped. They went to the worship there. Okay, that's the connection. But Matnita Tana and a Mishnah teaches as follows: Kol she'ein makir mishpachto v'shivto, one who is not aware or recognize what his family or his tribe was, nifneh l'sham. Okay, in other words, they don't know their true Jewish background. They were brought there, they really converted. The Gemara is going to tell us later the whole story of the lions and all of that, but that's the significant, right? Nifneh l'sham. Amar Rabba, says Rabba, Vehi amukam misha'ol, and that's their lower, deeper than Sha'ol. Shnei Amar, miyad Sha'ol, efdem mimavet agalem. From the depths of Sheol, I will redeem them. From death, I will, so to speak, bring them up. Ve'ilu, I'm sorry, pasul dito, and these ones are even,
So low.
they are worse than those that are in Sheol. Because those in Sheol can be redeemed, but these individuals cannot be redeemed. Lit laho takanta, says the Gemara, they have no remedy. Psule de harpana, mishum psule de mishon. Those that are pasul from harpanaya, they are more neglected or nor put aside.
They were originally
All
from.
right, from mishon. Psule de mishon, mishum psule de tarmod. And those that are pasul, okay, unacceptable from there, descended from Psule of Talmud. Psule de Talmud, Mishum de Avde Shlomo. Okay, and those that were unacceptable from Talmud could be coming back to the Gemara that we saw earlier, where there was a machloket. Why were they not acceptable? Because they were the Gentile servants of Solomon who went to that location, established the city, unlawfully married Jewish women, and therefore their children are mamzerim. V'hainu da'amrei inshe. Okay, so that's why I'm suggesting Rashi gave his explanation as opposed to the other. Da'amrei inshe kava rabba the kava zuta. You have a larger kav and a smaller kav, right? What happens? Mignadar. Okay, va'azil l'sha'ol. Okay, they roll over and they move towards Sheol. Umisha'ol l'tarmud, umitarmud l'mishan, umishan l'harpanaya. Okay, in other words, those generations, in a sense, continued from one to another location, all the way to Harpanaya. And that's why we say that the people in that location, since there's potential of being mamzerim, are not viable to be accepted.
They didn't have good resume.
Okay, things like that. Hadrana lach chamesh esrei nashim. So we finish that parak. Okay, we now go into a new parak, and in doing so, it's interesting just to share real quick that the introduction in Art Scroll on is worth reading. It focuses on the Zika bond, okay, and that's what Art Scroll suggested was an important theme in this parak. Koren okay, has a little different introduction, okay, and focuses on the three main questions that come up in this parak. Okay, the first of which is we saw that there are going to be certain rules of Yibum itself that impact on whether the Yavama, okay, is required to have Chalitza or Yibum. Okay, and one of those rules we saw in Parak 1 was that if a younger brother was not in existence at the same time as an older brother. Okay, we all remember that, right? So that's going to lead me to put a diagram. Okay, on our board. Okay, I'm starting off with, and then we'll go into the text. We've got Shimon, Levi, who are two brothers. Okay, and then in this family, that's why it's a broken line. Later on, there's a third brother that's born. We'll call him, I don't know, Yehuda.
Usually it's Reuven, Shimon.
Whatever it is. Okay, X, Y, and
You're
Z.
confusing me when leaving out Reuven.
Okay, so we got X, Y, and Z, three brothers. Okay, now what happens?
We should make Levi a little circle because he's a baby. Ooh. Oh, wow. Multi-color. They had the Armstrong.
All right.
Do that.
Okay, now you want to call him Reuven. Reuven is married to Chana or Rachel, and Shimon is married to Leah. Okay, so far so good, everybody. Okay,
We're not sisters or brothers, right?
Well, I danced at both weddings.
okay.
And women are sisters.
What? I didn't make a line, did I?
Didn't say
So they're
that,
not
just two
sisters.
ladies.
Okay, so this is the start of our diagram. What's going to happen as we're going to continue in the Mishnah is we're going to have to impact the diagram by showing, number one, who dies,
Reuven.
okay? Number two, who goes to whom, and then who doesn't go to whom, what they need or don't need, okay? So let's go on. Okay, so that's the basic drawing. Let's go now. All right, so the Gemara, the Mishnah starts off for us. Keitzad eshet achiv shelo haya be'olamo. Okay, so we have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Okay, and we said Levi was the last one to be born. Okay, but he's not born until after
Reuven is.
Reuven is deceased. Okay, which means okay, now theoretically that Rachel
She goes uphill. She gets.
whoa, not yet,
Well, that would be with alignment.
not yet. She first goes to Shimon.
Yeah, that's a diagonal uphill. You got him.
I put it here because I want us to see that they're going to be co-wives.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
Reuven had how many wives?
One.
One.
Yeah, let's just give them one at a time.
Okay, I just want to make sure Reuven had one.
Reuven was a monogamist.
Shimon
Okay.
was two.
So Shimon dies,
Reuven died.
Reuven dies, and his wife Rachel now becomes, she
Falls.
falls,
To Yibam to Shimon,
she falls to the next brother.
right.
All right?
But here you have her going uphill instead of.
Well, I got my own drawing, which does that. Okay, but like I said, I wanted it here so we see their co-wives, and in reality, okay, like that. Okay? Get the mark all over. All right, now. Okay? Now, everybody's with me, right? All right, so what happens? Okay, Gemara, Mishnah continues. Shnei achim, we've got the two brothers. Umeit echad mehen, we said that Reuven dies, which is what we just showed, right? V'nolad lehen ach, right? So now he's born. Okay? All right. V'achar kach, says the Mishnah, Yiyabem hasheni et eshet achiv umeit. So what happens now, says the Mishnah?
Shimon marries Rachel.
So he now, right?
Keep this straight.
Okay, and then he
died.
dies.
She's bad news.
Okay,
She's
that's what
poisoning
happens. He performed Yibum with her. Fine, now now there are two widows,
Right.
right? Okay, and he's died. Now the Mishnah continues.
Two widows and a baby brother.
Okay, what? All right, let's go on. Harishona, the first, and we don't have to, because we're going to have to get into that. Okay, all right. Harishona, Yotz'a Mishum Eshet Achiv Shelo Haya Ba'olamo. So the Mishnah tells us in regards to Rachel, right? And she now
May or may not have a zika to Levi.
okay. So all of us now, what her status in terms of him, since he wasn't born when he died, okay, does she need chalitza?
No.
Does she need yibum? No.
She's an Shesach.
All right. So she doesn't have to worry about chalitza or yibum.
She can go kill another guy.
Fine. Okay. That's what our Mishnah says us. Okay. Whoa. Wait. We'll see. Let's follow the Mishnah step by step. Okay. Vahashniya. Okay. And the second. All right. Now, I'm introducing this. I might have thought when it said Rishona, maybe it's referring to the first woman. Hashniya, maybe referring to the second woman. Okay, so she was the first woman, she's the second woman. Okay, Rachel would be the first woman, Leah would have been the second woman. Okay,
Necessarily so.
to Levi. Now we go on, right? Hold on. Okay, so Rachel, we said, was exempt from either chalitza or yibum because of lo yabaol. Right. Okay. Vashniya mishum tzarata. Okay, and Leah is now exempt as the co-wife of Rachel from the marriage with the deceased Shimon. Right? Okay. That's what we got so far. Now, what happens? The Mishnah goes on and says, wait a second. Our initial point was that Shimon completed and did Yibum. What happens? Right, that's how the Mishnah started. Yeah, that's the ratio, the initial statement of the Mishnah, the ratio. Our Mishnah goes on and tells us as follows. Hold on. Okay, a new situation. Actually, it's a spin on that situation.
It's 1A.
Okay,
and 1B.
Asa, the second brother, okay, Shimon, Asa ba ma'amar. He didn't perform Yibum. All he did was the ma'amar. Okay, he arranged a document that says, you know what? I'm planning to perform Yibum with you. Here's my IOU, so to speak. All right? Okay? Umate. And then Shimon still died
Prior to Yibum.
without doing anything.
Well, he did Mimer.
He did mamar, but
But he
that's
did
all.
not-
No act. No act of either
Yeah.
Yibum or no act of Chalitza. Okay? All right? Shniya choletzet. So Leah has to have Chalitza, velo mityabemet.
Not allowed to do.
No Yibum, but only Chalitza.
Levi has to get his own wife.
Okay? So that's where our diagram was important, to clarify the status in the Mishnah. Now we can go on with the Gemara.
Just wanna make sure.
Yes, Sid.
What you're saying is the third brother has no, the second wife, the first wife of the second brother was a legitimate marriage. Then the second one was a Yidden with Mima. Now comes the third brother and he cannot do
Marry either.
even with the first wife of the second brother. Is that what you're saying?
He has to do Chalitza
He's
with
not
the
allowed to
second
do
wife
The second one.
of the second brother.
I didn't need a second wife, I'm talking about the first wife.
He does
First wife he does,
First
first wife he
is
does
an
nothing.
Eish that's
I asked the rabbi, you mind people,
First wife he does nothing.
can you mind
Okay? First wife,
the first wife of the second brother?
the first wife of the second brother. Okay,
the
that's,
whole existing.
The
Okay.
third brother, you have a choice of doing Yibam with her.
no, he doesn't have a choice here.
He doesn't have a choice of
The-
Yibam or.
the
or
third-
with the second. The third brother doesn't, but he was born when the second brother got married.
True.
And therefore now the second brother died, he now has a wife with a minor. Is that correct?
No.
The
No.
second brother who died has a wife with a minor?
No, the second example in the Mishnah says all that was done here was a mamar. That's all that was done. The first, no. First one,
The first wife, he was married the second brother. Are you telling me the second brother was never married?
no,
Well,
I'm
it's
saying,
fine.
no. The second brother was married.
Was married, so he has a wife and he has a minor. Now he dies.
Right.
Now what do we do? What's the third? The third brother,
So wait. So the third brother, okay, to his original wife,
of the second brother.
no, to his original wife, right, of the second
Right.
brother. The original wife for the second brother, he has to do, right, he has to do chalitza.
Why not him?
He's not allowed,
He's not allowed.
Why?
because she's a tzara.
She's the
of
tzara
minor.
of the
If
first.
you hold.
Of the
Does he have a
co-wife.
choice of the minor or to?
No.
No.
He does not have,
Hey, guys, you mind?
he does not have a choice.
He has no choice. Automatically, she is, the minor is automatically eliminated.
Yeah.
He
okay.
does not have a choice, period. He only can do chalitza to the original wife of the second brother. That's all he can do,
Why?
because she is a tzara to this one. And he can't do anything with her. She gets neither chalitza nor yibum. okay? Because he wasn't born during his same existence as him.
And, okay, now, but the point is, the brother who married the second brother married the wife, has a wife, and he was born already at the time when he got married. Now you're telling me he can't do anything.
No, I'm saying the third brother.
The third brother was alive when the second brother got married.
Yes.
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah, let's say he is. Let's say he was.
So therefore, why shouldn't he not be able to do Hebrew with her?
He can't because she is a tzara to her.
Can I try, Rabbi? There's a machlokes whether what Mimer does. Some say Mimer makes her sort of a wife min haTorah. Others say she is sort of a wife midrabbanan. So in any event, she has a zika. So she is if it's Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. The first woman, Rachel, is an Eshes Ach with the dead brother to Levi. So that's an Erva. So now she's an Erva, she cannot go to Levi.
100%.
Okay, but the first Mishnah we learned that if one woman is an erva, all other wives are also don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
But in this case, it's only a minor. So maybe she can go to him, maybe she can't. So to resolve that, we do not allow her to go to him, but we do require him to do chalitza. Okay.
All right. Now Michael's explanation, you can understand why Art Scroll focused on the question of the status of Zika. Okay, whether it's really almost like marriage and therefore closer to Oraita, or whether it's more simply a Derabanan issue.
But anyway, in any event, she's an Eshes Ach.
Okay, that makes true. Okay, versus the other side, okay, of the question, which Corin was focusing on, okay, was not so much the quality of the Zika, but the situation of the relationship of the brothers and that question, because of his
Rabbi?
not being in existence at the time.
Rabbi?
Yes. Steve.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
The only thing that the practical question I have there is that I'm hearing that when this young brother suddenly becomes bar mitzvah, he's 13 years old, he's suddenly faced with the job of Ibn.
Right.
That's incredible.
He's faced with
Potentially in a relationship, he's potentially in that position, depending on everything.
He's put in a position that he has to deal with the status of that woman. Right.
Yeah, unbelievable. Amazing.
Actually, there was an Israeli movie made many years ago about precisely that particular kind of situation. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Amar Rav Nachman. Let's jump back into the Gemara. All right, says Rav Nachman, Man detani rishona lo mishtabesh. The one who used the word rishona, okay, did not make a mistake. He did not err. All right. In other words, he didn't get it mixed up. The language is appropriate. Man detani shnia lo mishtabesh. The one who taught second. I'm using that phrase for the moment. Okay. He also didn't mix it up. It also isn't inappropriate. Mandatani Rishona, as we jump to the next Amud. Okay. I want to get everybody home before lunch today. Mandatani Rishona. Okay. Lo Mishtabesh. We said he didn't mix things up. Why? My Rishona. What do we mean by the first? Rishona Lenefila. That she was the first one to become a Yivama. Okay? Or I want to throw in another point here. I could use the word, if I want to show Art Scroll's emphasis, zikuka. Okay? Those two words, Art Scroll wants us to remember, are parallel terms. Okay? But the zikuka language emphasizes the relationship as opposed to the person. Okay, exactly. Uman datane shnia lo mishtabesh, and the one who teaches it shnia also doesn't make it up. Error. My shnia lenisuin, that she was the second one, okay, to enter a marriage.
Second marriage.
Right, second marriage. Mi lo askinen yabam biachar kach kanas, asks the Gemara. Aren't we dealing here with a situation of the yabam, the person, okay, and afterwards marriage? Elamai shniya. What do we mean shniya? Shniya b'nisuin. Her second marriage. Eshet achiv shalo haya ba'olamo hecha kativa. Okay, so now we get to a further statement. Okay, Eshet Achiv, the wife of his brother, Shalo Haya Ba'olamo. Okay, again, that's our third kid here, right? Right? Okay, Heche Kativa, how is it written? What do we mean?
Where do you find that?
What is that? What's the basis for that? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav says, Amar Kra says the following pasuk. Ki yeshvu achim yachdav. Okay, in this section dealing with Yibum, the brothers living. Okay, I'm going to translate the yachdav at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, but that's going to be problematic.
I know.
Say as one.
I don't like.
Both alive at the same time, but it also allows you.
We'll
for the
see.
other direction.
Well, we'll see. Shahaita lehem yeshiva achat ba'olam, that they existed in the world at the same time. Okay? Prat la'eshet achiv shelo haya ba'olam. Okay, this excludes the wife of a brother when they weren't in the world, okay, at yachdav at the same time. Okay, that's one understanding. Miyuchadim benacham. Okay, so what happens? Yachdav also could give us another explanation, not just when they were in existence at the same time, okay? But Yachdav means they have something jointly together, namely, Miyuchadim benachala, okay? That they are jointly connected together from the same father that they inherit. Okay? Prat la'achiv min ha'em. This excludes a maternal brother, okay, from the same mother. Rabba Amar, says Rabba as follows, Achin min ha'av, yalif achva mibnei Yaakov. To say that they're brothers from the same father, I can learn from the term achva, brotherhood, so to speak, brotherhood, from the example of the sons of Yaakov. Malahalan min ha'av, velo min ha'em, the same way they are from the father and not from the mother. Afkan min ha'av, velo min ha'em. So here they are from the father and not from the mother. Okay? V'leilef, so the Gemara suggests, hold on a second. Maybe I can learn that concept of achva, okay, from a different place and not from the example of Bnei Yaakov. V'leilech achva me arayot. Maybe I should learn it from the example of all the arayot. So the Gemara tells us, hold on a second, just if we look at how we do a normal example of a gezerah shava, I'm going to point this out, says the Gemara. Danin achim me achim. We derive achim from another place where achim is used. Ve'ein danin achim me'achecha. And we do not derive the parallel, the Gezerah Shava for achim from a fairly similar word,
Different form of
Okay.
the word.
right? Achecha.
You're,
All right? So here we're going to get to that. The Gemara is going to challenge that approach in just a second. Okay? What happened? Manafka mina. So what's the difference? Asks the Gemara. Hatana debe Rabbi Yishmael. Don't we have where it's taught examples of leprosy, or so to speak, tzarat in a house? Don't we have the following example that the school of Rabbi Yishmael teaches? Vishav hakohen, uba hakohen. We have that example, and that's not the exact same words. Okay? Zohi shiva, zohi bien. Okay, one is coming, one is going. Hani mili, hecha deleka mide dedamele. That's where we have a situation where the words aren't exactly similar, explains the Gemara. Okay, in other words,
Comparing to Gezerah Shava.
right, we're trying to define, okay, the language necessary for a proper Gezerah Shava. Right. Okay. Aval hecha deika midi dedamele, but where we have words that are exact. Okay.
then we go with the more exact.
Midamani le yalfinan, from those that are more comparable. That's what we learn. That's how we learn. Fine, says the Gemara. That knocks out the possible. That keeps the Bnei Yaakov example, but knocks out the Erva example. Let's try another example, says the Gemara. V'leilef achva achva milot. Let's learn it from another case where we have the word and it's referred to lot. Dichtiv ki anashim achim anachnu. Okay, in that case, okay, hold on, says the Gemara. Mistabra mibnei Yaakov hava leila milef. It still seems more logical, says the Gemara, that we learn it from the example of the sons of Yaakov rather than this case with Lot, right? Better to learn it right. Why? Mishum demafne, because with the example of the brothers, that word, okay, is available. It's free. It's usable for a drush. Okay? Midahavale lemichtav. Okay? Why? Because otherwise it would have been written, Shnaim asar avadecha, b'nei avinu. It could have simply said, 12, your 12 servants, the son of our father. V'kata uktiv achim. But the word achim there, okay, is not necessarily necessary for us to understand the pshat of the pasuk. So therefore, why is the word achim there? It's there because it's free, available to use for a drush. Okay? Shma mina la'afnuye. And therefore we see here that it's available. It's free to use for the drush. Okay? Now, says the Gemara, v'itztarich l'chmichtav achim. Maybe it was necessary to say that it was achim. V'itztarich l'michtav yachdav. And it was also necessary to written yachdav, together. Why? De'i katav rachmana achim. If only we had had the phrase achim there, hav amina leleif achva milot. I could have perhaps learned the idea of the brothers from the example of Lot. Even though we're going to see the Gemara is going to tell us, I could have translated achim there as relatives instead of brothers, with the example of Lot. So that wouldn't have.
Lot was not a brother.
Exactly.
He was a relative.
Right. So v'chi tema lo mafne, and if you were going to say it wasn't available, la'ai, for what purpose does it come? Afnuye mifne. The here it therefore is available. It's free. Midahava leila michtav re'im v'kativ achim. It could have been written re'im, okay, instead of achim, instead of brothers. Shmami na la'afnuye. This comes to show us that clearly it was available to be able to do the drasha. Ktav rachmana yachdav, and we see also that it's written yachdav. Hamiyuchadim benachala, that gives us the other side of the drasha, namely that they have this commonality, namely that they're all going to be the heirs of the same father.
So they're paternal.
Okay? Ve'ikatav rachmana yachdav. And were it such that the Torah had only written the word yachdav and not achim along with it, okay? Hava amina, I might have thought, right? The miyachte ba'aba ube'ima. That therefore that's telling us that they had to be the progeny of both father and mother, okay? Or what we could call full brothers, right? Tzricha, that was necessary. Vahamehechatite. And here, where do we learn this?
Why would you think that?
In other words, what would have make you teach that was the case, that they would have to be full brothers, okay? As opposed to simply brothers of the same father, okay?
Paternal brothers.
Right? Paternal brothers. Yibum benachala tala rachmana, benachala min ha'am velo min ha'em hi. Okay, that yibum then is to be done based on the concept, I'm saying, of inheritance. Okay, and that's what the Torah defined it. And inheritance comes from the father and not from the mother.
So why would you think you need both?
Why both? It's tarich. It might be necessary. Salkadata chamina. It's possible I might have said as follows. Ho'il v'chidushu the mitkashrei ervagabe. That since this is a new idea, this whole concept of yibum is a brand new concept where it permits one to override the restrictions of erva, okay, in this case, and permit such a law, right? Ema adami yachde ba'aba uba ima. That it would therefore be the combination of both father and mother, full brother. Okay? Tzricha, that it might be necessary.
That's why we need Yah.
Right? Right. Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav.
Paternal brother.
Okay, so now we got a new piece in the Gemara.
Only do you
Right?
by
Right? So that's the case. Shomeret Yabam Shemeta. Brand new situation. Okay? She is waiting for her Yabam and she dies. Right? Right? Pumutar ba'ama, be'ima. He is permitted then to marry her mother. Right? Alma kasavar ein zika. Here, this would seem to imply that there is no connection. Okay? Velema, let us say as follows: Halacha kedivrei haomer ein zika. Therefore, we might say the law is according to the one who says that there is no zika.
You should have said that instead of.
Why did he say that?
You should have said, huh, ain't zika.
Right. Okay.
Why is there a Zika here in the first place?
No, he said Shomer.
She's a shemer.
Rav Huna is saying the name of Rav. She is a widow that is waiting for her yabam. So that establishes already that initially we're talking about a Zika situation. Okay? And now she dies.
Does that break the Zika?
Does that break the Zika?
Or
I
not?
would assume it does.
Well, that's what the
No,
Gemara is
that's the
asking.
issue. Can you marry
That's
her
the
mother?
question.
No,
that's not a Zika bond, that's a permissibility.
That's the question. That's the Gemara's question. Okay? Ihava Amar, okay? That's the point. So why didn't he say that, just come right outright and say, if he held that way, that's, why doesn't he just say it, right? Ihava Amar Hachi, if he had said it that way, Hava Amina, Hachanami, right? Hani Mili, betray. Okay? Aval Bechad, Yesh Zika. I might have thought then in that situation where you had two potential women,
No, when there are two brothers.
okay?
When there are two
Two
brothers.
Two
they were
brothers.
Why is the Koran using the word not substantial when the simple translation is a ilma kasavar ein zika? Ein zika just means no zika.
Right.
Well, this is
I'm not-
substantiality is irrelevant.
I'm not sure why. That's why sometimes you see I'll go more with Art Scroll's
Yeah, yeah,
translation.
right.
Okay. So here, what's the situation? Hava Amina, what I would have said. Hani Mili, betray with two. Aval Bechad, okay, if there had only been the one, Yesh Zika, there would have been the situation. Valema, so let us say, Halacha Kedivrei HaOmer, Ein Zika Afilu Bechad. So in this case, why didn't he say there is no Zika unless
Even
there
if
is
he's the only sibling.
one? I Amar Hachi, if he had said it that way, Hava Amin, I would have said, Afilu Mechayim, maybe even in the situation when alive. Kamash Malan Lachar Mita and Mechayim Lo. Maybe in that case, I would have learned that if it was after death, yes. While she was still alive, no. Mishum da asur levatel mitzvat yibamim. Why? Because we're saying we might have thought that it is prohibited to do away with whatsoever the mitzvah of yibum. Now, it's getting late. Do you want me to stop here? Okay, we'll stop right here. Okay. I said it's not all right, let me just make a note that that's where we'll pick up tomorrow.
I'm in New York now. Believe that, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. You got back okay?
Thank you, Rabbi.
I'm still in New York right now. Yeah, no problem here.
All right, have a safe trip back.
Thanks. All the best.
Just as in the bump.
Okay, Bob. See you later.
Have a good day, people.
Okay.
She's under 12.